Hello. So I'm going to be presenting an introduction to A Course in Miracles. And yeah, let's just dive into it. I'll give a little bit of a history. So this is A Course in Miracles, and it was channeled by this woman named Helen in the 1960s. And she and her friend Bill were a pair of psychotherapists practicing and going to school in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And so Helen started channeling this whole book, and Bill helped her write it down. And so Helen, she claims it was the voice of Jesus, but after reading and studying it and having some of my own ideas, I actually believe she was channeling Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene was uh, was an apostle, but she was written out of most Christian history. And the reason why is because she was a woman and she was a sex worker. And she taught uh, that we all were inherently uh, sinless and that we're inherently innocent and guiltless, and that mistakes should be forgiven. And all of these concepts are things that are taught in A Course of Miracles. So that's why I believe it was Mary Magdalene and not Jesus. And God can speak through anyone. A Course in Miracles teaches that God means love. And so when I'm reading it, I'm comfortable with the use of the word God, but um, I know that that can definitely be triggering for folks. So I will interchangeably use the word love, creator, the universe, all that is. It really doesn't matter because the Course in Miracles is not, it's not a religion. It is a path of mental training. So I'm going to read this part because the Course in Miracles says, remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You may not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter, nor decrease their efficacy. But do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas that the workbook contains. And whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more is required. Let's see. You are merely asked to apply the ideas as you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them. You are asked to only use them. And the use of the ideas will give them meaning to you and will show you that they are true. So it says you may actively resist them. So some of the ideas are triggering, such as the use of the word God. Um, in other parts of the book, it says that part of the language of it, it uses words such as atonement and Holy Spirit. It uses all of this Christian terminology. However, in A Course of Miracles, all of those terms are redefined. And so, Holy Spirit, what it really means is your highest self, your highest good. It's a voice, it's the voice of yourself acting from a place of love. It's the connection between yourself here on earth and the voice of God. Because if God was to speak, it's like the intermediary between God and us down here. So, A Course in Miracles teaches us how to become more in touch with our divine self, how to be a voice for love, how to be a voice for forgiveness. Course in Miracles is huge about forgiveness. And it's not only about forgiveness of others, it's about forgiveness of ourselves, because our society teaches us that, and especially if you were raised in a religious upbringing, we're taught that we're inherently guilty, that we're born in sin, that who we are is not something that should be completely just accepted and wonderful. We're taught that we have to act in certain ways, that we have to atone for original sin. And these are all concepts that were created by man. These weren't concepts that were created by God or by some greater creator. So in lesson 1, well, there's a couple things that are also just like primary aspects of A Course in Miracles. And one of them is that we live in a holy instant. And what that means is that the future does not exist and the past does not exist. These are concepts that are really popular, like in meditation, or popular like in Buddhism. And it's also is the truth. Technically, the past no longer exists. The past does not dictate what is happening right here in the present moment. However, our emotional world will tell us that this is false. It'll tell us, like, if we think of a past relationship and we feel upset, then that seems to have an impact on our life right now. However, that isn't the truth. The past no longer exists, and the emotions that we carry now are all in our mind. And so if we have mental training and if we have diligence, then we should be able to move those emotions and not allow those emotions to impact our holy instant and our life right now. Similarly, there is no future. The future does not exist. We spend a lot of time dreaming about the future, having desires, having anxieties, worries, depression, about things that just don't even exist. So when we give our energy to things that don't exist, then we're basically prohibiting ourselves from having peace right now. And so A Course in Miracles teaches us how to have the mental diligence to remain in the current moment and not have our lives be dictated by the past or by the future. There is only now. So, like I said, these teachings, the Course in Miracles teaches that it is true that that and you're not asked to judge it. So it's really easy to say, well, but these things did happen to me in the past, and it does have an impact on who I am right now. Course in Miracles is one way to free ourselves of that misconception. So yeah, so as a teacher of these concepts, I do know that they are true, even though some days it is very challenging to say, you know what, my life is not dictated by my past. It can be really challenging. And so that's why in A Course in Miracles, there's 365 daily lessons to do each and every day so that we can teach our minds to accept a more loving and peaceful place. So, other things that I find like really tantalizing about the Course in Miracles, and I'll just do this shortly and then I'll go into what lesson 1 is. In chapter 19, section I, there is a chapter, it's called The Attraction of Pain. And it says, it is impossible to seek for pleasure through the body and not find pain. It is essential that this relationship be understood, for it is one the ego sees as proof of sin. It is not really punitive at all. It is but the inevitable result of equating yourself with the body, which is the invitation to pain. It invites fear to enter and becomes your purpose. The attraction of guilt must enter with it, and whatever fear directs the body to do is therefore quite painful. It will share the pain of all illusions, and the illusion of pleasure will be the same as pain. So the Course in Miracles could be very difficult to understand when you read the text. And it's also like very dramatic. That's one of the things that attracts me to it. I like the drama. Um, and I do believe that in our society that, and in like the lack of like emotional health that happens in our families, that our family structures are torn apart, that there's a lot of even conflict and strife in our communities. We are brought up um, to expect pain, to have like an attraction to pain. That pain, if we have a family structure that involves like a lot of pain, a lot of discord, and a lot of disharmony, then we'll even equate pain with love and we'll replicate it in our romantic relationships. So I find the Course in Miracles to be like very wise because it 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 offers a way to like unwind our mind so that we can witness the places in our life where we have an attraction to pain. And when we can see the attraction there, then we can learn that there is an alternative to it. Why would I choose pain when I can choose peace? Um, So I don't always like agree with everything that A Course in Miracles says, and and that's okay because I'm actually not asked to judge. I'm not asked to judge the ideas at all. So when I find myself having some sort of resistance or having an opinion about what I read, I have to remind myself, oh, I'm not asked to judge it. All I'm asked to do is to practice it. So lesson one is nothing I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place means anything. So it says, nothing I see in this room means anything. Nothing I see in this room, and then we look around through this window, on this floor, in this place, means anything. So it says, now look slowly around you and practice applying this idea very specifically to everything you see. This table does not mean anything. This chair does not mean anything. This hand does not mean anything. This foot does not mean anything. This cat does not mean anything. And then look farther away from your immediate area and apply the idea to a wider range. That door does not mean anything. That body does not mean anything. That lamp does not mean anything. These plants do not mean anything. That sign does not mean anything. That shadow does not mean anything. Notice that these statements are not arranged in any order and make no allowance for differences in the kinds of things to which they are applied. That is the purpose of the exercise. The statement should merely be applied to anything you see. As you practice the idea for today, use it totally indiscriminately. Do not attempt to apply it to everything you see, for these exercises should not become ritualistic. Only be sure that nothing you see is specifically excluded. So they're like, don't be obsessive, however, apply it to everything. So when we're doing the lesson, there's a gentleness. Okay, I see this wall. This wall does not mean anything. Okay, I see these bricks. These bricks do not mean anything. One thing is like another as far as the application of the idea is concerned. Each of the first three lessons should not be done more than twice a day, preferably morning and evening, nor should they be attempted for more than a minute or so, unless that entails a sense of hurry. A comfortable sense of leisure is essential. So that's it. You look around, feel relaxed. Don't be obsessive, and just say nothing in this room means anything for 1 or 2 minutes twice a day. So the book is really just like easing us into um, expanding our concept of the world, because the Course in Miracles is it's a metaphysical book. It's not about the religion. Oops. Yeah, my phone did a weird thing and totally distracted me from what I was saying. So in the first lesson, nothing I see in this room means anything. We're just opening ourselves up to the idea that the world as we know it is not necessarily the truth of our divine existence. So yeah, so I'll leave it at that. That is lesson 1 in A Course of Miracles, and that is a brief introduction. Yeah, and I hope to see you again soon for more like this. Please check me out on thesparklepath.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, pony_midnight_mayhem. And you can see my one-on-one offerings and other upcoming classes and workshops that are all about emotional freedom, witchcraft, encountering magic in your life, and being able to shift your internal world. So yeah, signing off for now. Okay, bye-bye.